Happy hump day. It's Wednesday. And if you're watching this at work, it's likely that you're already busy. It's likely that you've already spent a big chunk of your day in meetings, and perhaps you're about to spend the rest of your day running from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting. Certainly, if I go back to my days when I was working in corporate, I could spend my whole day in meetings, and then I'd end up doing what I would call the dump and run, and that's not good. With the dump and run, basically what you do is, as you rush from meeting to meeting, you then rush past someone who works with you or works for you and get out of your head everything that you've just picked up in the last meeting of things that need to get done and dump it on that person as you then rush to the next meeting. Now, of course, when you're rushing like this, the conversation becomes all about what you need, not about what the other person needs, because your focus is on getting the information out of your head, not being ready to listen to what the other person needs and their response. It was George Bernard Shaw who said the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that has actually taken place. So when you think about communication, there's actually 5 levels. The first level, of course, being the lowest, which is the dumping. It's the one-way conversation. It's all about me. It's all about you as the person who is communicating, getting out what you need to get out of the conversation. Secondly, debating. And this is where it becomes a contest of ideas, where both parties to the conversation are seeking to win the conversation, win the argument, make sure that they've had the last say, make sure that they've put their point of view across. If you want to communicate effectively, at the bare minimum, you need to be operating at level 3. And level 3, it's about clarifying. When you clarify, you start to think and wonder about the conversation, where it is, where it's going, where it could go. You become far more curious, less judgmental in terms of what you're hearing back. You're asking lots of questions. You're seeking to clarify to make sure you understand what the other person is saying. And so in this way, the conversation becomes more about the us, the two people who are in the conversation. But even better, level 4, and this is sense making. This is a really open-hearted conversation. It can be a conversation that takes time because it has depth attached to it. It's where the people involved in the conversation are looking to push their thinking, what they're saying, what they're feeling, to whole new levels of interaction. Each person is really seeking to generate insight about how they're feeling, and they know that it's through the deepness of this conversation that they're going to generate great insights, great understanding, but also really deepen and strengthen the relationship with the person that they're talking to. But if you want to take your communication to a whole new level, let's go for number 5. And number 5 is adapting. This isn't easy, because when you're adapting, you're admitting that you don't have all the answers. You're admitting that you don't know everything. You're admitting that you're still trying to figure things out. And often as a leader, it can be hard to admit that you don't have all the answers. So when you're adapting, you're having a conversation which is about exploring possibilities, knowing that there is no one right answer, but that what you're trying to do is find the way through. You're exploring, you're experimenting, you're being curious. And you know that the conversation isn't just about you. It's not just about the parties that are involved in the conversation, but it's also about the broader impact that the conversation might be having with other people who aren't in the conversation, but may be impacted by the outcomes of that conversation. So next time you're thinking about engaging in conversation, a conversation that really matters, make sure you're not doing the dump and run, and work your way up to having that adaptive conversation that could just make all the difference. Take care, and I'll see you next week.